How's that?
Striking and fielding strategies are offensive and defensive. Now, last week we discussed the offensive side of things, where the batter could hit the ball into space. But today we're going to discuss the defensive strategies of a striking and fielding game. The defensive strategies that you have at your disposal in a striking and fielding game is to reduce the open spaces for the batter to hit it in. There are two main objectives of a fielding team in a striking and fielding game. Number one is to get them out, or number two is to minimise the amount of runs by reducing that amount of space that they can hit into. These objectives can only be met when you reduce the amount of space through your fielding placement. Our learning intention for today is we're learning to position fielders to make it difficult for the batter to make runs. Our success criteria is that we can identify the space where a batter might hit and use field placement to make it more difficult. This is a cricket field. Now, in a game of cricket, you have 11 players on the field. One of them is the bowler. There are so many different factors that you need to consider when organising your field placement for a striking and fielding game. Factors such as, are they left-handed or right-handed? What are their favourite shots? Or what are the shots that get them out? All of these factors have one intention, and that is to reduce the space for the batter to hit into.
Let's give it a try.
Let's have a look at this cricket pitch here. You can see the batter at one end, they are right-handed, and a bowler at the other end of the cricket pitch. You also have 8 other fielders on the ground. You have 2 extra fielders to put onto the ground. Where would you put them and why? Keep in mind, we want to close off or reduce the space for the batter to hit into. Pause the video now and think of 2 things. Where would you put your 2 other fielders and why would you put them there? Here's the space that I've identified on the ground at this point in time. This is where I'd put my 2 fielders, the 2 fielders in the red. The reason why I'd put them here, firstly, I'm covering most of the ground with my fielders, and the spaces that I'm not covering can be relatively easily covered by another fielder. I've also spaced them out, so there's some further away and some that are closer in. The reason I did this was that the people on the outside can cover for the ball coming through the inside rope or the white circle. And the fielders that are closer, they can field the ball when it's not such a hard hit. Now, my answer here is one of many different examples that you could have. As long as you've identified the space and placed a fielder to reduce that space, then your answer is perfectly reasonable. Hey guys and girls, don't forget to head over to our PE Google Classroom so that you can answer this week's activity. The activity is all about striking and fielding and the field placement.